We're going to start the apprehension work now. To begin with, we're going to talk about zone biting, things we should know about apprehension work. When we use a dog to bite someone, we are actually going to damage their body. It may be minimal damage, but it's still going to be damage. And if you notice through these diagrams, you'll see that the body is made up of different muscle groups, some very large, some very small. The idea behind zone biting is to teach the dog to try to target the larger muscle mass. In hitting the larger muscle mass, we cause less permanent damage to the person that we're apprehending. And this could be a person who's just having a bad day, or a person that's been a repeat criminal. It makes no difference. We still need to be aware that causing them extensive and permanent damage is going to actually cause us to have to support them the rest of their lives. If you watch the zones, you'll see that red zones come up surrounding the head, hands, and feet. Also included in the red zones would be the genitalia. These areas are selected for non-biting zones. So we don't teach the dog to hit on the head, the hands, or the feet, or the genitalia. Although this could happen accidentally during an encounter, we try to move away from this type of situation. Next, you see the yellow zones. These are a little bit larger muscle groups, and they are suitable for biting, although they're not optimal. Their suitability is good. A lot of people who do hard work every day are desensitized in these areas, so when a dog bites that area, it doesn't damage them as much. This is kind of hard to see, but if you'll notice, these are the green zones. These are the largest muscle mass. Usually on the extremities, it's the part of the arm or leg closest to the body, and that's front or rear. You have a lot of large muscle there, and you can do an apprehension situation and not cause a lot of damage. You can see the red zone, the yellow zone, the green zone, and now it's going to come up with all three. So when we're doing bite work in the future, be aware of this and try to teach your dog to get in the habit of hitting in a large muscle mass. Now we're going to talk about how to present yourself with the proper posture during bite work. In the beginning, these puppies and young dogs need to be encouraged by body language. And by using the clock as a directional guide, we learn how to present ourselves to the dog. It's important to know that how to present yourself in the proper body language so that we communicate to the dog what it is we want him to know. Knowing this, we can teach the dog to do his job correctly. See here, two clocks. The upper clock is the helper's clock, or the guy who's going to get bit. The lower clock is the handler's, or the dog's clock. If you see Renee, he starts at 6 o'clock. By moving from 6 to 9, he presents a body language which is almost like prey. From 9 to 12, he is doing a direct approach. Once he gets to 12, if the dog misses, or he causes the dog to miss, he moves to 3, which, as you can see, gives the dog the idea that the helper is trying to escape. Again, it's just a way that we can tell each other how we want this to happen. And by moving around the circle, your body language changes as you go around the clock. So you don't have to concentrate, if you're new at this, on how to do it. It's just a matter of knowing how to move around the clock. And again, you have a direct challenge, a sort of challenge. The dog bites at 12 o'clock where the two clocks meet. And if the dog doesn't bite there, then you have the helper running away. Back out to 6, now he directly challenged the dog. When he's at 6 o'clock, he's the farthest away from the dog he's going to get for that session. Here's how we start to decode some of these things. If I want this young man here who doesn't know a lot about catching dogs to do what I want him to do, I've taught him about the clock, and I'm going to tell him to do a 3, 9, 12. So he's going to start out at 6 o'clock, and he's going to move from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock, then to 9 o'clock, and then he's going to go into 12. There's 3, 9, now he's going to round the circle to 12. He gets the bite. What this does is not only gives the helper a good direction on what it is that we want him to do, but it also gives the dog a chance, especially a young dog, a chance to settle down between movements of the helper and to plan out his attack. teaching the dog to go sideways and to coordinate his movements with the helper helps the dog to be able to run forward. It's not a natural thing that every dog does when they run after someone to know how to launch into the air and then bite them. This is something that has to be taught. You can see here is another clock. This time we're going to put the handler's clock on top. The handler stands in the red square. And if you'll watch the dogs, again, we're going to have the young helper do 3, 9, 12. He's already done 3 and 9. He moves into the 12 position. Dog gets a bite. But if you watch the dog is also doing 3, 9, 12. Okay, now we're going to talk about why you do what you do while you're doing the clock, and mainly it's where to put the sleeve when you're getting ready to do this exercise. When you're standing at 6 o'clock in your clock and you're getting ready to go around to 3, 6, 9 or whatever number you've chosen, when you turn right, like Renee does here, you need to have your sleeve on the right arm, because by the time you get around to where the dog is, that's the arm that's going to be closest to the dog. It's a little confusing because when you start off, the sleeve is away from the dog, and we're doing that on purpose to keep the dog from being able to see the sleeve and target just the sleeve. But as you move around the clock, if you're going to go right, your sleeve needs to be on your right arm. If you're going to go left, your sleeve needs to be on your left arm. So when you put the sleeve on, whichever arm you put it on, that's the direction you want to go around the clock.
Hi, this is Karen Smith-Buckley from the Rose Cottage Dog Hotel, watching The Way of the Dog with Norm.
I told you, turn it down now!
let's look at how zone biting works in training.
So what we're going to do is form a habit where the dog bites here. We're going to use Rock to do this because he's very experienced. He'll bite where we want him to. But his habit is going to be to bite here in a larger muscle mass. We've discussed why we do that in the video. What happens when we get a bite here, we get this to be habitual. Then when the person is facing the dog, we basically get a bite in the same place, but it's on the opposite arm. Because to them, this is still the side of the body they're used to biting on. So where he bit on the back of the arm up high, coming in from behind you, he's going to bite on the front of the arm up high, coming in front of you.
And here's some more examples of the dog coming in from behind. You see the position on the bite, where it is on the arm. And when we watch them come in from the front, it's basically in the same position on the arm. It's just on the front instead of the back. By teaching the dogs to bite this way, it makes it easier for them to target the individual. Also, by teaching them to bite up high, closer to the torso, makes it harder for the individual to make the dog miss. If they're aiming for the lower arm, there are a lot of joints, the shoulder and the elbow, that can make it possible for them to make the dog miss, even at this distance. But this part of the arm is basically going to be the same place no matter what you do with your hands.